Hello, love. Welcome to the ChiLOve radio show on Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. This is your host, Melanie Hogan. You can call me Mel, coming to you from the greatest place in the world, Chicago, ChiLOve. So now, before we begin, we will start off with 3 deep breaths so that we can ground ourselves, be in the present, not think about what happened earlier, not think about what's supposed to happen later. We're going to inhale and hold for 3 seconds and exhale. One, two, three. You should be feeling relaxation in your neck, in your shoulders, in your upper back. I hope that this day has been going well for you. If it hasn't, may it get better for you. May you receive your heart's desires. Now let's do this update on COVID-19. The coronavirus, especially here in Illinois and throughout the world, always gives us more and more information and updates on this pandemic. So far, we are not out of the woodworks. The numbers are continuously growing. As of today, health officials announced 1,076 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, 30 additional confirmed deaths. The total breaks a string of 6 consecutive days with reported cases of over 1,200. That brings the state to 173,731 confirmed cases, 7,446 deaths in 102 counties. Also, TT Mayor Lightfoot announced that Wisconsin, Missouri, North Dakota, and Nebraska are now added to the quarantine list of people entering from those states. They are asked to self-isolate for 14 days. There are now currently 22 states on the quarantine list. As I spoke on it before, within our lifetime, this is our first experience with the COVID-19 virus. But the coronavirus actually came back in 1918, 1919. And we're actually repeating history here because everything shut down before. They mandated us to use the mask. They came out and told the people that they had not experienced anything like this and they were not sure how to handle it. The people were protesting about wearing the mask. There was an uptick. We are actually repeating history at this time. So TT is asking people, we know that you want to live your life. We know that you have family and friends that you want to see. We know that if you do feel like, death may be knocking at your door, or it can hit you anytime, because this is so unpredictable that, you want to go out your way, and you're not going to do it hiding in the house, or, refraining from being around your loved ones. So I understand that some people feel like if they're going to go, they're going to do it their way, and at least they're going to have like good memories behind it. And I do understand that. But at the same time, there are certain things that you can prevent, and we would love to have you around for years and years to come, so that you can have even more time to spend with your family and your friends and your loved ones, even more time to develop your careers and accomplish your goals. So sometimes, we face a little setback, and that's natural. And it's all about how we handle the situation as far as how we are getting through it. Now, we were originally told that during the during the summer months, that, the COVID was going to have a hard time existing. We were looking forward to numbers actually going down. And in comparison to when this first began, the numbers are down, which is good. The positivity rate is still low, which is good. But we are experiencing an uptick. The numbers are growing. The age group between 18 and 29 are now getting more attention, because originally that age group was not personally affected as hard. And we definitely were not seeing any deaths from that age group. It was more so from elders and those with underlying health conditions. Now we are seeing our futures, those who are supposed to take over behind us, who are contracting this COVID, and some people are actually losing their lives behind it. So we do ask that, okay, if you choose to live your life, that is fine. But please at least quarantine yourself for 14 days if you visited one of these states that are on the Illinois quarantine list. I spoke previously on another show on a previous show about teamwork. We need teamwork during this time, because what COVID is showing us is that nobody is, void of getting it. Nobody is protected from contracting this virus. And they're not even sure what it's doing to like pregnant women who are getting it, or infants. Luckily we haven't had many cases of them saying that smaller children were getting it, but I did read something where they were saying that they were contracting it, but it wasn't hitting them the same way that it was hitting the adults. And there hasn't really been too many studies and confirmed cases where there are a lot of numbers with this. But just the fact that if one person can get it, and then it's so asymptomatic, and people are walking around and they're feeling like they're healthy, but truthfully, the virus is seeping from them and affecting their loved ones, affecting those that they are in their personal space. So, we're not trying to kill our loved ones. And if you are, then I would suggest some serious counseling, some healing, some reconditioning. Hopefully, if your reasoning for wanting to take out a loved one, if it's justified, hopefully you get justice for whatever the situation is that even puts you in the mind frame to want to do that. But overall, on a logical standpoint, on a humane standpoint, we are not trying to kill our loved one. Now, here in Chicago, as many know, Chirac, but we were renaming it ChiLOve. You hear about a lot of killings and murders and stuff, and a lot of times that is, because a loved one was killed, so it's out of retaliation. But to just have the motive to kill one of your own, hopefully that's not the norm that's going on here. So, if anything, maybe it's a selfishness or inconsideration behind not wearing the mask, not sanitizing, not keeping the social distancing guidelines of 6 feet. Hopefully it's not anything malice behind not following the guidelines. So it is important during this time to try to stay calm, to try to stay optimistic, to try to stay happy and, at least find a happy place or create a happy place. And it doesn't have to be a tangible place. It could be a place within your mind. Certain places that you went that had the type of elevating energy where you felt whole, where you felt healed, where you felt restored, rejuvenated. You can go back into that place on a mental note and allow yourself to feel the air, the energy. Allow yourself in your mind, your memory to see the things that you liked that gave you enjoyment. And you create a happy place inside of you. It's vital to have some type of happy place, whether it is internally or externally, because stress actually makes the body susceptible for illness. And you could be very healthy. But we've had so much going on this year. And the stress levels have increased, the anxiety levels have increased, the depression levels have increased, the suicide levels are increasing. People have a lot that they're dealing with. People are experiencing compassion fatigue that we spoke about previously, where it's a profound emotional and physical erosion that takes place when helpers are unable to refuel and regenerate. It is so much stuff that is going on now that a lot of people aren't even able to catch their next breath before the next incident has happened. So it is good to, make a mental note, even create a journal or a blog or something, and just talk about the positive things that you are experiencing despite the COVID pandemic that we all are having to endure. This is not a situation where it's only a group of people who are experiencing this. Now, yes, they said that the African American people, the numbers are higher than the rest of the nationalities, but it's still affecting the Caucasians, the Europeans, the Asians, the Hispanics. It's still affecting everybody on one level or another. So we're in this together. We have to learn how to share this space. We have to become more considerate of each other. We have to give the person next to us, a chance to live their life without having to suffer from the COVID symptoms that are, even those who are still living from this. And it's like, no, just because you catch COVID does not immediately mean that you're going to lose your life. Because there are a lot of cases of positive test results. And yes, there are quite a few cases of deaths, but the comparison to those who are catching COVID and healing from it versus those who are catching it and dying, there is a significant difference. So everybody who catches COVID will not immediately die. But the symptoms in themselves, who wants to even endure that? We don't like it when we catch a cold. We don't like it when we catch the flu. We surely don't like it when we catch pneumonia. Those are very uncomfortable experiences. And then now we have COVID, who's coming in addition to the cold, who's joining the cold. COVID is joining the flu. COVID is joining pneumonia. those are some very adverse side effects. It's hard to see those that you love sick like that, to where they can't breathe, to where they can't smell, to where they can't taste, to where their body is ridiculed with a fever. And then especially, it's already hot outside. This is Chicago, and we've been having some hot days. So to already have hot days, and then now you are positive with the COVID, and you have a fever, and you have nausea and congested, and you're coughing up to the point where you're just constantly bringing up mucus. It's not a comfortable experience. So if we can help each other avoid that experience, let's please do so. Let's please do so. Now, of course, we know that the beach is still closed and will continue to be closed. Here in Chicago, Chicagoans, ChiLOVians, love the beach. I particularly prefer it at night, but we love the beach here. And that is something that everybody has to get to at least once before the summer is over. It's a favorite pastime here. But because of the Corona-19, the beaches are closed. The lakefront trail walk, they have that open to where people can still exercise, because exercise is good, especially during stressful times. It's a good coping mechanism. But they will be closed for at least 2 weeks. So maybe depending on how these numbers go, maybe we can have a little beach time before the weather starts to change and it starts to get cold. Because I personally would love to just go and relax at the beach by the water. It's very relaxing. The energy is very comforting. I especially like it when it rains and the lightning hit the water. It's very beautiful to me. See, that's a happy place right there for myself. That's a happy place right there. So, let that be one of your happy places if you are an avid beach goer here in Chicago. And that's something that, although we have so many differences, that is something that we do have in common. We do like the beach. The majority of us do like the beach, enjoy spending time at the beach. But for right now, they will be closed. The park shelters and parking lots will also be closed. So the little area around the beach where people used to pull up and chill out and, have a few drinks or just, convene with a few friends and enjoy the weather, is closed. We have Gary, Indiana, who is very close to Chicago. Their numbers are showing a significant change in the spike. So there is concern about people it's very simple to just drive across the border to be, come to Chicago. Chicago, Indiana is nothing. So there is concern about people who are crossing the border to come here to Chicago. OMG. Fear. And I tell you this, and I repeat this stuff to you, not so that you all can have fear, but so that we can be aware of what is going on around us, so that we can do our due diligence in playing our part in helping to keep ourselves safe, our family members safe, and even those that we don't know, because we are going through this together. And you don't want to turn around and, find out that, something about you has infected somebody else to make them sick or cause them to lose their life. You don't want anybody to do that to you. Let's always remember the golden rule of treating others as we would want to be treated. Now, we do have some aldermen, some advocacy groups who are calling on the city council to pass an ordinance to move medically vulnerable people out of shelters and jails. I think that is a great idea. In all things, let's always look for that silver lining, that the positive aspect. You know, it gives us hope to just keep going. And I think that's a great idea. If somebody is medically vulnerable and they're living in shelters, in jails, we all know that the shelters and jails on a normal day are not like really up to par. So for people to already have underlying conditions and we have this COVID going on, we should remove them. And salute to Superintendent Brown, who when this was first going on, he removed quite a few inmates out of the county and let them go home. He allowed them to go home so that they could be safer from this COVID. Unfortunately, on the other hand of that, we have seen an increase of violence in comparison to, say, 3 years ago. We have seen an increase of violence over the last 3 years, rather. We've seen an increase of violence here. And, you know, it's saying that perhaps some of the people who were released out of jail are behind some of the killings. And if that is so, it's very disheartening. It's very unfortunate because somebody cared enough about you to let you get out of jail so that you could join your family and be safe from possibly dying from COVID-19. And then you turn around and add to the violence that's killing these innocent people and these children. So you have to understand when people do stuff like that, and then you sit back and you look at the effects of it and the things that started to manifest after the release of these inmates, and you see that the violence rates and the statistics are actually going up, that more children are actually dying, more innocent people are catching bullets. You know, for the next go round, it can make a person hesitant to continue to let more people out, even though he is revamping the whole house arrest system. So a lot of these people are, yes, they're getting out, but they're going on house arrest. So it's like, okay, if they're on house arrest, then how is it that this violence is going up? Well, you know, they have people, family, gang members or whatever, who can carry out orders for them. There are multiple tricks that people utilize to slide off the house arrest bracelet so that it can still look like they are at home being monitored, but they're actually out in the street. So you have to understand as well that when you're asking for a change, you yourself have to be in alignment to receive the benefits of that change. How can we continuously, you know, we're not even asking. At this point, there's a holler, there's a scream, there's a pounding, there are, you know, attempted removals of statues. You know, people are really making their point as far as how they feel about what is going on here. And yes, changes need to occur. Changes need to occur on the side of the government, on the side of the police, on the side of the people. Do you hear me? Even though the police have some things that they must change, they have some healing and some reconditioning that they themselves too need. We as a people have healing and reconditioning as well. Because instead of you being grateful that you are home with your family and could be home with your people, you use that as an opportunity to increase the death toll. So I strongly believe that when people are incarcerated, they should be learning how to heal, learning how to face their demons, learning how to recondition, Because a lot of times it's not like their families had the money to move out of the location that they were in when they first got arrested. So a lot of times they're going back into those same environments. And even there are some who do not plan on engaging in the way that they were originally engaging. They feel like they learned a lesson. But the streets don't let up, unfortunately. So sometimes people are coming out and being forced to have to pick the guns back up, forced to have to put these hits back out on the street because their ops is like a blood in, blood out situation. And it's like the only way out for a lot of them is that they have to die out. They have to die out. They have to kill their way out. And a lot of them usually end up dying out because it's too many to kill their way out of. I just want to give everybody hugs. I just want to give everybody hugs. But yes, they are doing an ordinance that would amend the existing housing regulations. You know, we're having widespread reports in group settings such as homeless shelters. They said that the homeless shelters actually have some of the most challenging outbreaks to stop, which is very understandable because these people are outside all day. Well, most shelters I know here in Chicago, you can't stay in the shelters all day. It's like you wake up at a certain time, they feed you, and you have to leave. You have to leave, and you cannot come back until a certain time in the evening or at night. So these people are just literally outside, roaming around, no place to go, no mask, all in each other's personal breathing spaces, combining bacteria and germs and so forth. A lot of them are not fresh bodied, fresh clothing. So I can definitely understand how the outbreaks amongst the homeless will be one of the most challenging. Because it's like, where can they quarantine at? OMG. OMG. There's a lot of help that's needed. It's a lot of help that's needed. It's a lot of changes that needs to be made on almost every level that you can imagine. And we have these government officials, we have these public service workers, and it's going to take more than just them to help to get a hold of things, to at least stabilize the situation, and then to find a way to elevate everybody within that. And I also speak on a person's own empowerment. A lot of times you don't even realize that you have the power to do something about the situation in one way or another. And in this case with the COVID, the very least that you can do is make sure that you're not contracting it or passing it on to others. You may not have an establishment where the homeless people can go. You may not have an establishment where those who are newly released from jail can go. And then even with the jail portion of it, for them to put them on house arrest, you have to get permission. The place has to get approved. You can't just set up house arrest anywhere. That location needs to be approved. Depending on what type of landlord or housing management system you have going on, you can't readily just let People just come into your house on house arrest, especially if they're not on the lease. With the violence that's going on, a lot of landlords are not even trying to allow people who are coming off into house arrest. They're not even trying to allow them into their buildings or on their property because of fear that this person will now bring some type of violence or some type of death or some type of shooting or harm to the innocent people who are just trying to live and keep themselves protected. So, we have a lot of twists and turns, and it's not all black and white. Everything is not, the solution is not always clear. And, you have to try some things and see if that works. You got to look back on the pattern of history with certain techniques that's been used and make the appropriate changes there. And then keep data and see how that part is playing out. There is no handbook on how to do any of this. As I was watching the news, they were saying how much science it is behind this whole COVID situation. How even with the vaccines, they can't just start to administer it to people because we don't know what type of long-term effects it's going to have. They're saying some things are looking positive. I personally don't want the vaccine. Let somebody else get it and then let me see what's going on with them in about 5-10 years. And I personally don't want the vaccine. Because people are in a rush as well. And you can't really be in a rush to create these type of things because you don't know exactly how the body is going to respond to it long term. So now that's a concern. We have the situations with the children who are going back to school. A lot of parents are confused as far as what to do. They need to go to work. They need a break from the children. But it's like at the same time, yes, we don't have as many cases of school-age children having the COVID, but at the same time, we don't know if they themselves are little walking vessels as well. And could be bringing stuff back home to affect the parents, affect the grandparents, affect the older siblings. And 17, 18, you're gonna get out of high school, but you're still around and in the vicinity of the sophomores and the freshmen. Everybody convene at one point or another, whether it's before school or after school. Everybody end up kind of being in each other's space. And seeing that the age group that is experiencing the uptick is between the ages of 18 and 29, that's making it a little more dangerous for the high schoolers. Because most in that age range are seniors, those who are preparing or who are prepared to leave high school. But they're still, you got to switch classes. So sometimes it's underclassmen who were in this class before you or after you, and you just came to sit and take your notes and, dictation and everything. But now you don't even realize that you had COVID and now it's spreading to somebody else. So we have to really be safe and cautious here. And education is very important. But how important is it over the well-being and the protection of your children? If DCFS wanted to get on some bull and say, well, we're going to still charge you with negligence, because although this was a pandemic and, nobody was really safe, there were things that you could have done to prevent this situation, and now somebody is dead in your family or your child is dead behind it. Hopefully we won't have any cases like that surging if, that's the case where children actually start to die behind this situation. But you as a parent, you are first and foremost responsible for the safety of your child, for the well-being of your child. It doesn't matter what any official say, that's your child. That's your natural right. And with everything that is going on, Who will blame you for continuing to homeschool your children? That's your right to homeschool your child. Now, I will tell you this, because they have made this educational portion of it into a business as well. Sometimes when you're homeschooling your child, certain schools who proclaim to want the best for the students or not give up on the children are not wanting to cooperate with you, because for some reason they feel like you do not have the wherewithal to actually teach your child, which is an insult to parents. So you schools need to get that together, because you got some parents out here who can come in and teach you. The least that you can do is offer to test the child to see where they stand, after the homeschooling portion. But as long as you register your child through CPS, they have homeschooling curriculums where you can put your child on the computer and they can do their work through on the computer, do another outside resource who has created the curriculum so they can keep up with like the little credits and grades and all that stuff for your child. But ultimately, it's like you're the principal of your own little homeschool situation. You're the principal, you're the teacher. You can outsource other educational resources for your child. That is your right. That is your right. So don't allow these people to put pressure on you to put your child in a potentially dangerous situation. We already send them in school, and for a lot of us, our kids' first gang interactions is within schools who are allegedly top tier one. So you as the parent have to do what is best for your child to save your child's life, even if that option is homeschooling for a while. Do not let anybody pressure you to put your child in a dangerous situation, because you want to know something? After they put their the rules out and the guidelines and their requirements and put their foot down, whatever happens to your child, you're the one who's going to have to be there to see that child through on to the other side of healing. You're the one who's going to have to be there to plan the funeral and then live with that void of having that child missing out of your family, not knowing who or what they could have accomplished in life because of the order of an official. Some stuff, yes, you listen to and you adhere to, and some stuff you have to just simply use your own brain, because you know your home situation. You know if this child has to go see grams or grandpa and do stuff for them because they're elderly, or a TT that's elderly. You know the situation with your household. You know the health and the mental state of your household. You should have some type of knowledge of it. So at the beginning and the end of the day, parents, I tell you that it is your right to do what you feel is best for your child during this time when it's a worldwide pandemic and the numbers are going back up. They already prophesied that we would see even more cases in the fall. So they're expecting more people to get sick in the fall. And we all know how the Chicago winters are. If you have never experienced a winter in Chicago, God bless your little soul. Because Chicago winters are no joke here. And we already see how that affects people just with the colds and the flus and the pneumonias. And then we're going to add COVID to it. And you're going to sit your child go send your child in the school because the officials are saying so. The officials are not going to be the ones at your home or at that hospital with you having to endure with your child whatever it is that they have to endure. The officials are not going to be at home with you or at the hospital with you if your child brings something back home and you all of a sudden get sick. Okay? So you use this thing. You have a brain and you can use it. You have every right to use it. You have every right to use it. You have every right to say, no, I don't agree with that, and my child is not going to walk this way. You have every right. And don't let nobody tell you different. You are to protect your child. We have so much technology and shows, and we got so much going on the technology side that the children are not lacking on the educational standpoint. They can learn anywhere and everywhere. But their health and their well-being, so that they can continue to learn, so that they can hit these goals, so that they can add to the legacy that you're developing as a family. My grandmama used to say, baby, if you ain't got your health, you ain't got nothing. And I didn't understand what she was saying because I was younger. But you need your health. Back on the channel 11, and when we was in school, they used to play the videos where they like this part connected to this part. We need all these parts. We need all of these parts. And when one part starts to go bad, it starts to affect the rest of the body starts to feel it at a certain point. So you need your health so that you can have longevity in the game, so that you can be in your right state of mind when you are creating and manifesting. You need your health. Your child needs their health. Aren't these children beyond discouraged when it comes to the adults who are supposed to protect them, not protecting them? We have too many stories where these children are not being protected in one way or another. And it is time for you to use your right, declare your right, and stand on your rights. And say, this is how it's going to go for my household until y'all get this pandemic mess together. You'd rather be safe than sorry any day. And there are some things that, yes, you can take a risk on. But your child, your household's well-being, it shouldn't be no risk with that. What are you going to explain to your child? Haven't we given them enough pathetic excuses? Haven't we given these children enough pathetic excuses? You're not around in the parental state that you're supposed to be in because you're working. You're trying to go to school. You're telling them you're trying to do this so that I can better us as a family, so that we can have a roof over our head and food on the table, and the lights and stuff on, and the amenities and all of the stuff that the kids want. You're going to try to build some type of life for them. But you're not even there for them on the emotional state, on a mental state. You're not there for them to show them that they are protected from these outside resources, because you yourself don't even have the time. And I'm not even calling you a bad parent, because some people are single parents and they got to make the best of what they have. But come on, babies. Being a parent means also making a hard decision. Being a parent means being able to make change on a whim. Do you hear me? To make a change on a whim for the betterment of the household. So many people be around here talking about that boss stuff, but when it comes to the boss type of decisions, you fold it. And we just expecting these kids to deal with it. But look at how we're dealing with how we feel like the police are acting, or the government is acting. Look at how we cut up and act out and outcry behind that type of stuff when we feel like we've been wrong as adults. But we expect these kids to keep eating it, right? And keep feeding them this mess, this shit, and calling it sugar. And then we wonder why they picking up guns and putting them in their own hands to protect themselves, because their own family, their own parents are not taking a stand for them when that stand needs to be taken. We got to do better. These people who are making all the doggone rules, a lot of them don't know what to do with their own damn kids. That's keeping 100. A lot of them don't know what to do with their own kids. Their own kids not adhering to their own doggone word, but they gonna tell you what to do with yours because they feel like you're beneath them because of your socioeconomic status, or because of your race, or because of your gender, or because of your lack of education. Now you don't even have the common sense to know how to protect your child, or when to send your child in, or to keep your child at home. Are you serious? We ain't get this far by everybody just being plumb dumb now. We got to do better by these kids. If something in your, we have yes, we're flesh, but we have a whole spiritual level to us that so many people not nowhere near tapping into. Tap in, babes. You have this intuition. And a lot of times people say, something told me not to do that. Something told me not to go there. Something told me not to say that. Listen to that something that's telling you, listen. Listen to that inner voice inside that's telling you, no, it's not time to send this child back out here. Here, not even for the whole COVID thing. Because Chirac is popping, baby. And they aim is still off. You sending your child to school trying to let them get a good education, and hopefully they, hopping over COVID and catching a bullet. Because these niggas can't shoot worth nothing. You as the parent have the right to raise your children accordingly. Yes, we have social norms. Yes, they're supposed to be registered somewhere to let somebody know that this child is receiving some sort of education. Yes. But that's nothing. You can do that through the computer and fill out the little forms to let them know that you are registering your child to be homeschooled. To let them know that either you're going to create your own curriculum or you're going to outsource as far as curriculums. But it's your right. And so what that the school boards and everybody get upset because this is a business to them. So yes, they do need the bodies in the seat in order to get their money. But even the doggone teachers are not amening person to person learning. It's the teachers who have to be in there with the school, with the students. If a lot of them are coming to the protest line, are speaking out and saying, no, we are not ready for this. If the meetings that you have to discuss whether or not to have in-person learning are all through Zoom, and y'all can't even come together in a room to have the discussion, maybe it's not so good to just start opening back up these doors. But what is the government doing? They're saying we have this funding for the school system. In order for you to get this funding, you better open back up them doors. And when you do things like give the government these two fingers, or you could just give them one other finger, then all of a sudden you're an insurgent and you rebelling, but they full of crap. Unless they know something that we don't know, they definitely need to start to share it. Because I'm not understanding the logic behind putting these kids in this predicament and just putting them in a position to possibly get sick, or to get their household sick, to get their head of household sick. Now, what if the head of household gets sick? Is it now going to be on this little 18-year-old to pick up where Mama or Diddy left off of, to try to take care of the rest of the house because they caught COVID and brought it home, and now the head of the household is sick? We got to think about that type of stuff. The money is here. It's going to always be here. The thing about COVID is that they said it came, it tore some up. I'm gonna tell you something, Chirac. Corona is the HBIC, the head bitch in charge around here right now. COVID is the HBIC right now. But as much as they said she came and did her thing back then, they said she left as if she had never came, as if she was never here. So it's going to leave. Okay? It's going to leave. We will be back to resume some sort of normalcy to a certain point. And you know, life will be great. Your kids will all be running back into the little school doors and seeing their friends and having that socialization. That part of life is going to resume at some point. But see, a part of life and a coping technique to get through life is that you have to be open to change, sometimes instant change, and you have to be able to rock with it so that you can get through it. You have to be able to make a way out of no way. You have to be able to find a way of, or make one, as we were conditioned at Providence St. Mill here in Chicago. You have to be conditioned to be open to that. And we will get back to the days where, you know, we seeing them go and run on at the door. And you got that time to yourself during them times if you're a mom who works from home or not working at all. And you'll have that time to yourself to relax. Or just knowing that you're at work and knowing that there are other adults who are around your child who are watching them during these school hours. We're going to get back to those times. It's just that right now, we just have to make a few changes. We just have to adjust some. You know, TT has, for those who are suffering with like eviction notices and everything, lack of money and stuff with the job, they're coming out with another stimulus check. TT has signed off on some stuff where it's like $33 million to help people with their homes and evictions if they need some type of relief with the rent payment. There is help out here. You'd be surprised at what you can get through if you just hold on. Just hold on. We're going to get through this. We're a team. Let's not leave anybody behind. Nobody is more important than the other at this point. From Donnie Boy at the top, no, from the elite above Donnie Boy, let's keep it real, all the way down to those who are considered the lowest of the low. Everybody matters at this point. And we could get through it. But while we're getting through it, let's protect these kids. Let's keep these children's health and well-being in mind. Let's also understand that them going around and interacting and frolicking the way that they are, that unfortunately they can bring us back something to make us sick. And how are we going to continue to build these legacies and simply do the day-to-day operations of taking care of our household if we are quarantined ourselves in a certain room of the house and we can't breathe and we can't smell and we can't taste and we got a fever and we coughing to the point of not vomiting and not, nausea, diarrhea? Like, that's like a whole uncomfortable situation right there that your children are going to have to witness. So if we can avoid that, people, let's be on the preventive end of things. We can do this. And ChiLOve got your back. Got your front too if you need it. So know that we love you here at the ChiLOve Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. And everything's going to work out for the best, one way or another. We just have to keep on holding on. Try not to make too many decisions based out of trauma or fear. And that happens sometimes, things getting tight or whatever. You might make a move that you wouldn't regularly make because you're trying to make sure stuff is good at home. But we will get through this together, especially here in Chicago. Look at how much we've gotten through already. So we're not going to let COVID just take us all out. But let's be considerate of each other, people. You know, I think we got a couple more laps. Then hopefully it'll be over with. Hopefully. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I love y'all. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Enjoy the rest of your day.